let's see, we have Cynthia Swan and Denise Riley, Joan Hayes, Vivian Spencer, Kim Collins, Paul Digby. Well, and it's good to see new names as well. I know our numbers will continue to increase as we continue with our conversation. We hope that everyone will feel free to be a part of the conversation by way of the chat. And of course, our featured poets today are Imani West, Julie Winters, and Aressa Williams. Very happy to see. And let's see, Joyce Flowers, we want to adjust your camera so that we can see you. We see the very top of your head. So we want there, oh, wonderful,
Oh,
wonderful,
now you
wonderful.
see me.
Okay. And we love it. We're asking if everyone could please enable your cameras so that we have an actual engaged conversation. That's
Okay.
what we really like to see, who we're talking to and who it is that we're responding to in the chat as well. Well, as I said earlier, welcome to the July episode of From a Poet's Point of View. My name is Sister Joy. I'm the Poet Laureate of Prince George's County, and it is absolutely my honor to present these monthly sessions, engaging poets of quality and connecting them with the community in a way that we hope fosters greater appreciation for poetry and greater familiarity with poets. Now, the program today is presented by the Prince George's Arts and Humanities Council with support and in partnership with Maryland National Capital Park and Planning Commission, the Prince George's County Memorial Library System, and the Nora Roberts Foundation. We greatly appreciate and thank them for their support. This is the 7th episode of the 2-hour virtual poetry series From a Poet's Point of View, which takes place every month on third Saturdays from 1 to 3 p.m. Eastern Standard or Eastern Daylight Time. So please note your calendars and feel free to join us whenever your schedules permit. At this monthly event, poets both present their poetry and also discuss their original poetry with regard to the issues of significance that move them to write. They also respond to questions posted in the Zoom chat by you, our audience, and our attendees, our guests. So it is my honor and privilege to present the 3 dynamic poets who have joined us in today's poetry conversation. They are, excuse me, Prince George's County Youth Poetry Ambassador, Imani West. Imani, please do a little wave there. Okay, thank you. Poet and retired English professor, Aressa Williams. Aressa, please give a shout, yes. And poet, science editor, interviewer for an Australian online art gallery, Julie A. Winters. Julie, thank you so much. And hi, Joyce, I see you over there. Okay, so we thank each of our 3 guest poets for today. We welcome each of you to From a Poet's Point of View. We want the poets to feel free to present your poetry that really discusses issues of significance and relevance to you. So we want to make sure, and I will also ask that if you are not speaking, please have your mic muted. Right now, we're hearing some activity. I don't know if it's simply shuffled papers, but persons who are not speaking should always have their mic, the mic muted so that there's no disturbance to others who are attempting to hear. So that's one of the etiquettes of being on these Zoom calls, that sometimes it's a challenge when the numbers swell and you don't quite know where the disturbance is coming from. But thank you, whoever just silenced your mic. It made all the difference. Okay. Accordingly, this today will be indeed an open forum and a literary discussion presenting our guest poets' views on topics of their choice. Now, each poet will present and discuss two poems on topics and also discuss how they approach writing. What is their writing style in their own words? And they'll be sharing information about their writing style and perhaps poets that influence them as well. So we want to talk about how they get from the inspiration, whether you are speaking academically or spiritually. We want to get from inspiration to full and final performance, sometimes on stage, sometimes strictly on page. But again, these are differences that are a part of the poetry experience. So since our format is one of poetry discussion and presentation, I am now going to invite our first guest poet. And let's see, making sure that everyone knows and is familiar with the Zoom chat. Feel free to post your comments and questions as you feel the need. You don't need to wait until the end of their presentation. So let me share a little bit about Imani West. And I should say Imani Grace West is a rising second-year student at Hampton University, where she majors in English with a concentration in creative writing. She is also a 2021 cohort member of Hampton's illustrious Freddie T. Davy Honors College. Now, Imani is a lover of words, just like me. Lover of words and all things writing. Her current interests include writing poetry, filmmaking, playwriting, social justice, and public policy. Over the past few years, Imani's work has been featured in a few different publications, such as poetic journals and student anthologies. Now, Imani was selected as a youth poetry ambassador representing Prince George's County and has been featured on the Poetry X Hunger website. Excuse me. Poetry X Hunger, for those who are not familiar, is a nonprofit organization dedicated to the art of poetry, as well as the continuous global hunger struggle. Now, in partnership with Poetry X Hunger, Imani's work has also been featured in school curricula to help children learn about hunger and its effect on the community. Imani has also had the opportunity to recite her work in front of legends such as Nikki Giovanni and Sonia Sanchez. One of Imani's greatest milestones of her poetry career was being commissioned by Busboys and Poets to write a poem in memory of the great Toni Morrison and reciting it at the Congressional Black Caucus. Kudos and congratulations, Imani. Now, Imani is also a growing change maker in the world of public policy. She has always been interested in how policy currently affects people of marginalized groups, such as women, the LGBTQ plus community, and minorities. Before she graduates from college, Imani plans to write her own book that consists of a collection of poems from her time in school and to put together a short film based on a play that she's already written. Imani's goal is to tell stories that inspire and uplift, while also challenging her audience to read between the lines and think beyond the literal meanings of words. She is a recipient of the 2021 Prince George's County Pierian's Emerging Artist Award. That is quite a bio for someone, frankly, of any age. But please, everyone, snaps and claps, please let's welcome and thank Imani Grace West for joining us today for From a Poet's Point of View. And feel free to post your kudos or acknowledgements in the chat. We want Imani to feel most welcome. So Imani, I've talked out. I want you now to share, well, why don't we just start with one of your poems that you feel reflects who you are and identifies to the guests who are with us just what type of messages are of significance to you. And I want to, before you do that, I want to acknowledge our IT, our tech guru for today, which is Taylor Dodson. Taylor, thank you so much for being at the helm, making today's session go smoothly. Would you care to greet our guests in any way before we officially hear from our first poet?
Hi, everybody. Good afternoon. My name is Taylor Dodson. I serve as the special assistant at the Prince George's Arts Humanities Council. So I'll just be here joining you all today and listening in on the beautiful poetry that will be spoken.
Okay. And I would ask that for, whenever we have poetry being presented, that you pin that poet so that even if there's a gallery view, that the poet who is presenting poetry or speaking at length is full screen. So having said that, if you would please welcome our first guest poet, Imani Grace West.
Hello, everyone. Thank you for having me. Thank you, Sister Joy, for asking me to come on today. I'm very excited to be here. So my first poem is called American Color Story. American Color Story is based on the riots that I saw in January. And I was inspired by the, I guess you could say, hatefulness that you could see in society. And I'm gonna just read it for you guys and hopefully you enjoy it. Okay. Black girl in all her glory be magic. Black girl be supernatural shapeshifter. Black girl screams Black Lives Matter. Blue cop says no as he forces her into submission, she resists. Blue cop says Blue Lives Matter. Black girl be blueprint for his white daughter. Black boy swing with the green tree leaves. Black cop stays silent. Host a burial of pride in his throat while running through his brother's eulogy, for he knows this narrative all too well. He wished he could have run faster, wished he could have done something about it, but he couldn't. He knows Black squares on Instagram won't save the next one. White America says orange is the new black. White House says they see red and white and blue, but never black. Yet black is everywhere. Black man be protector unprotected. Black woman be his muse. White collar hates them both and their unborn children. Black boy wants to be alive when he grows up. Afraid of his red blood lining the streets like his father, blue man wears the smell of death and blood like perfume. His favorite brands are Black boy joy and white privilege. The worst part is he's so used to the scent that he can't even smell it anymore. But he knows you can. When I asked my friend where he saw himself in 10 years, and he said he didn't, my heart shattered into a million pieces for which I am searching to this very day. You see, it's hard to feel like you can't exist anywhere without someone finding a reason to hate you. It's hard to feel like people only want you for what you can offer them instead of your humanity. It's hard to exist in a world where people believe your body fits better in a casket than anywhere else. It makes you think. What about the advancement of Black scares them so much that hate is their only response? Thank you.
Wow.
Wow. Thank you, thank you, thank you, thank you. Well, that's the way you open a session from a poet's point of view. Thank you so much, Imani. And clearly it's with good reason that your bio is as full as it is. when you have, when you think back to, and you're clearly a very young woman, but when you think back to your early entree to poetry, what was it that attracted you? What was the lure? And were there any particular poets that you connected with?
Absolutely. So I started writing poetry in the 6th grade. Um, my class was doing a fishbowl with Nikki Giovanni at Bowie State University. And so I went to the fishbowl and we were reading her poem, Ego Tripping. And that was like my first introduction into poetry. And I fell in love with it. I wanted to be a part of it any way I could. So when I had the chance to read in front of her, of course, 12-year-old me, I was very nervous, but um, it's what I wanted to do. And bigger than any fear that I had, I was very excited to just have someone tell me. And then when she told me that she thought I was capable, that just changed my life forever. And just, it's been the joy of my life ever since that day. So
To have someone of that caliber give you that type of affirmation is nothing short of life changing. I'm so very happy for you. And clearly she was right. Clearly. So when you think about your approach to writing, are you a person with a particular rhythm, a particular pattern that when you get ready to sit down, you have certain types of paper, certain types of pen? Are you strictly on the computer or on your phone? What is your methodology for when you are actually preparing to write?
it varies, honestly. So sometimes I'll be out and about in my day, and I'll be walking around and I'll have my phone in my hand because I'm out, and something will come to me. Just it will come to me. Like I will see something, I will see somebody, I will think of, what's going on in society currently, and it will just come to me. So I type it in my notes before I forget, because I will forget what I was thinking. And then I'll come home and write it in a notebook. I have so many notebooks around my house that people have given me. And so, it doesn't matter which notebook it is, I just grab it and write whatever I need to write. Other times, it takes a minute, for me to think of what I want to say. Because I want to be very intentional about, where I'm placing words, and, same thing. Also, sometimes I'll be sleeping and I dream about something and I just wake up and I'm like, I can't go back to sleep after that. Like I have to write it down. Like this is like something, this is crazy. So I have to write it down. And that's kind of how I go about it. I've learned over the years that I can't force myself to write stuff. I have to be in a creative mindset and a growth mindset so that I can get the stuff down on the paper. Because I find if you force yourself to write because you just want to get it done, it's not as impactful or as real as it should be or could be if you just let it happen.
Okay. Now, when you go back and look at your work, or even when you decide that you want to revise and tighten up and make it ready for, sharing, are there particular poetic tools that you are mindful that you want to employ, whether it be metaphor, simile, persona, and anaphora? There are so many things that become our signatures as poets. You can look forward to seeing these components within the poetry of a particular poet. And is that something that you are mindful to do, or do you not focus on poetic techniques and tools per se?
I would say I have become more aware of these tools as I've progressed. Definitely when I started, I was nowhere near where I am now. It was like I was just trying to rhyme and find words that just rhymed, but like that's not necessarily always what poetry is about. You know, it's not just about rhyming words. It's about, okay, let me take my thoughts and put them on the paper. And you can do that through metaphor. And I love metaphor. It helps kind of connect things that wouldn't necessarily be connected, but then you find a way to connect it. And then all of a sudden everyone's like, oh, that makes sense.
Yeah.
So that's how I do it. That's what's come to me over the years. And I'm sure as I progress, because I'm still kind of young, I haven't gotten very far in my career yet, but when I'm going to school for this. So
Right.
I'm sure I will get some more techniques
Right.
on my
Okay.
training. So yeah.
Okay. Well, I know I've read that, and I don't know where I fall in this pattern, but what pre-writing is what 25%, writing is 50%, and then revising is 35% or something. There's a breakdown of what we should aspire to be mindful, because the notion of what the inspiration is never, hardly, I should say, hardly ever the poem. The inspiration is just that. And a lot of times when I'm doing workshops, I get the feedback, but that's the way it came to me. I can't change it. And I beg to differ. I plead to differ, that we want people to understand that poetry is an art form, and as such, it is crafted. And we have to study it, and we have to work it, and we have to value the gift that it is once it blossoms. So thank you, Imani, for that. As a matter of fact, how about we hear one more poem from you, and a little bit about the backstory after that.
Okay. Sure. Trying to decide which one. My next poem is going to be about Toni Morrison. It's actually the tribute poem that I performed at the Congressional Black Caucus.
Oh,
Um, it is inspired by me reading her book, Sula, as well as The Bluest Eye. Those two stories are amazing. They are life-changing. I also watched her documentary, personal documentary, before she passed. And so that's what it's about. And I hope you guys like it. Okay. She turned the world's lies into her own narrative, milking every syllable into soulful words. While reaching deeper inside herself, she pulled out love, Blackness, history, and wisdom, shielding her from what she called the white gaze. Thought-provoking, thought-challenging literature makes me think back to my own experience of the bluest eye. When I prayed for ivory skin and privilege, her novels challenged me to dig deep into my Afrocentric roots, making me grateful for my ancestry. Gravity pulling me back every time. It was a spiritual experience. She reminded me of my history, the story that exists only for me to tell. She reminded me of a strange fruit and those strange hooded men. She reminded me of my native tongue and how it fit perfectly into my ancestors' mouths. She reminded me of the belly of the Black South and how Jim Crow left the nest and dropped a feather every now and then, free flowing and effortless, each part speaking the words I wish I had the strength to say. I watched in awe of her ambition. Her history and mine intertwined into sweet truth. I always wondered what a utopia the world could be. Thank you, Toni, for making it possible for me to fly, inspiring me to find my own voice. Thank you for making literature such a beautiful thing. Thank you for giving me a reason to look inside myself and all I was born to be and smile. Thank you.
That is
oh,
beautiful.
a beautiful tribute. Oh, how
Yeah.
wonderful. Thank you so much. Wow. This, again, for those who joined us late, was Imani West, uh, Youth Poetry Ambassador for Prince George's County, second year student at Morgan State, I'm sorry, do I have the right?
Hampton.
At Hampton, yes, at Hampton. All right. So, Imani, would you please, for those that might care to stay in touch after today, would you include your contact information, your name and contact information in the chat? And if there is a website that they can be in touch with you, or if, whatever information you'd care to share with our guests to let them know how to stay in touch, we'd like for you to take that opportunity. Thank you so much.
Thank you for having me.
Thank you. And for those who are going to be wanting a little bit more, Imani is going to come back before we conclude today's session. So you'll hear at least one more poem from this wonderful young woman who has selected words to be her partner. Thank you so much, Imani. Okay. Now, moving along, we also have, as I said earlier, we have 3 guest poets, and our second guest poet is Aressa Verdell Williams, who is a retired Washington, D.C. public school teacher and a retired assistant professor of English at Anne Arundel Community College. And she's also a teacher consultant, a creative writing presenter, and of course, a poet. She is a premier member of Poetry Nation. Her career highlights include Excellence in Leadership Award for Classroom Management workshops at Anne Arundel County Community College, Who's Who Among America's Teachers, Commendations Letter for Heal, Write, Away, and that's WRITE, Heal, Write, Away workshop at the National Council of Teachers of English Conference. Certificate of Appreciation from the DC Area Writing Project, and a citation for literary achievement and dedication to students from the DC Board of Education. Outstanding achievement in poetry from Poetry Nation. Now, in the 6th grade, the aspiring message maker wrote her first book of poems to earn a Girl Scout badge for creative writing. Today, Aressa has 3 self-published books. They are titled Soft Shadows, The Penny Finder, and the most recent, Pancakes and Chocolate Milk. Her inspiring poems strike universal notes about family, friends, resilience, and hope. Aressa believes that poems are word snapshots of our experiences. Moreover, she defines poetry as word music. The word weaver enjoys walking meditations at Schoolhouse Pond, happy yoga, and interpreting dreams. Other interests are reading short stories and inspirational books, journaling, and sky watching. A hot cup of Lady Grey tea, and let's see, a few Pepperidge Farm cookies, a black and white movie followed by a short nap, all make for a good day. The poetess is the proud mother of Aaron Coley and the grateful grandmother of Aressa Coley. Please welcome today's second guest poet, Aressa Williams. Aressa, welcome. Thank you so much for joining us.
Thank you, Sister Joy, for inviting me and for this opportunity. All right, you want me to start?
Well, I was about to say, as you sort of gathered the sequence that we're doing, I would like for you to share one poem. You can share the backstory first, or you can share the backstory after the poem. And we'll have a few questions, and I'm going to be more mindful of the chat as well, just in case somebody has questions there. But why don't you share either the backstory or the poem, and we'll take it from there.
For this poem, I think I should start with the backstory.
Okay.
I have a real good friend who is also a poet, and she wakes up like Imani with poems on her mind. And this was years ago. We were talking and she said to me, Aressa, I get tired of people who will try to make it real in somebody else's dream. And she was talking about people who always wanted her to put whatever she had to do aside to do them a favor. And so I took that and I turned it around. Oh, I said to her, you mean you're tired of people trying to be the star in your movie? And she said, well, okay, that works too. And I never forgot that, because in a way we do create our own movies. We were here together and alone in our houses, but this is a scene in our movies from a poet's point of view. So this poem is called Somebody Else's Movie, and I would put it in the category of self-help and self-care. If you are assigned the role in somebody else's movie, don't show up for rehearsal. Certain groups of people want us to feel angry, bullied, confused, inferior, unhappy, sufferers in their drama. The coworker parks in your reserved spot on purpose. Become a comedian, flip the script, apologize as if you are parking in his space. The English teacher who copies your classroom bulletin boards. If you ask her about it, you're a liar and a troublemaker. Be a mime, say nothing. Change your bulletin board. For every stolen idea, you have 50 more. Family user takers never contribute to dinners or celebrations. Show up with greedy friends, take home doggy bags. Create a new line and change the scene. When vultures call to find out where and when, tell them, everybody pays for his own meal, we're meeting at Jasper's. The next door neighbor complains about your cedar shrub. It spreads to my side and makes my lawn look untidy. Agree, apologize, become a set designer. Replace the shrub with a decorative container of flowers. Feel attacked, disrespected, sad, taken advantage of in somebody else's movie? Don't go on stage.
Oh, I like that.
Oh, I love it. I love it. I love it. Yes, 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 yes.
True.
Okay. So I get, hey, self-help, self-care for sure. Yes. Thank you so much. Wow. Is this something that you're known for, messages of self-help and self-care? Are these thematic throughout your poetry?
That's one of the things I write about. I write, rhyme is easy for me, but some topics like this one don't lend themselves to rhyme. I'm old school. I like the ballad stanza, the second and fourth line rhyme, 7 or 8 syllables per line, but I mess around and experiment with other forms.
Yeah.
Yes, I like to write helpful. I like to inspire or leave people with hope. I like to start off sometimes with a sad tale or experience, but I always wind up writing something that's hopeful.
Yes.
Leaving the reader or the listener with something that makes them feel better.
Yes, yes. And that certainly is something that as poets, I think there is a need to do that. And we have an opportunity. We're acknowledging that it's not always possible because there are some truths that must be told and that do not lend themselves to that happy ending, quote unquote. But certainly for those that are looking for messages of self-help and self-care, we do want to be mindful of that. Thank you. Thank you for that beautiful and very necessary message. Yes.
Glad
yes.
you like it.
Okay. Now, you kind of told us in advance what brought you to that. when you think about the poetry that you have a great appreciation for, are there poets that you've just always gravitated towards seeing what they have written or are writing? Are there poets of significance that we should know are meaningful to you?
Sure. I like Paul Laurence Dunbar.
Okay.
I think his being able to write in Black dialect, Negro dialect,
Yes.
and standard English going back and forth, I think that's beautiful. I like, her name is Carolyn Rogers. She was from Chicago. She died several years ago. I call her a Black revolutionary writer, but she was back in the 60s and 70s. And I go back and read some of her poems. But one poem in particular, she wrote about her mother, who didn't know any of the Black activists back in the 60s. Her mother worked in a factory and Carlin's phone got turned off. She was doing badly. She was in grad school and needed money, and she was home with a cold. And her mother caught the bus in the rain with a bag of food and knocked on her door and told her that she had people who cared about her. When she tried to call her and the line was disconnected, gave her some money, put the food in the refrigerator. And I'll never forget one of my favorite lines. She said in the poem about her mother, "Don't forget the bridge that you crossed over on."
Yeah.
Mm.
Oh, wonderful. Yes, wonderful. Thank you for that. And her name again. Give us her
Carolyn
name.
Rogers.
Carolyn Rogers. Okay. I may have to look up some of her work. It sounds like a poem that
Please
I would.
do. Please do. I can't remember the title of her first book, but she's the first poet I've ever had to sign a book. I bought her book when she visited Howard for one occasion, and she's good.
Yes. And sometimes we look for those activists that are so renowned and do all the things that the media captures them, and, you know, the history books write about them, and we overlook the activists that are core to who we are, that make a way for us to be who we are. And oftentimes it's someone within our very, you know, immediate life, our immediate circle, and within our family. So I'm sure that she clearly identified her mother as the activist renowned. Yes, okay. Thank you for that story.
Sure.
Thank you so much. Now, when you think about your journey, what was it that brought you to poetry?
Third grade, I was selected to represent my class for an opening assembly program. And I had to recite a poem, "The Wonderful World." My sister helped me to remember it. It was kind of long, but I just remember the first stanza. "Great, wide, beautiful, wonderful world, with the wonderful waters around you curled, and the wonderful grass upon your breasts. World, you are beautifully dressed." That's all I remember, but it was a beautiful poem, and I liked poetry since then. Third grade.
Oh my goodness. Well, I'm telling you, you go back way farther than I do with regard to poetry. That's fabulous. That's fabulous. Thank you for sharing that. Do you have another poem, or before I ask you for another poem, are there signature technologies or techniques, signature techniques that you employ that persons who follow you would know this is a signature technique that Aressa Williams uses?
Well, let's see, signature technique. The rhyming. Let's see.
Yeah, you did say the rhyme.
I can't think of a signature.
Okay, technique. But you've indicated that you do not necessarily do open verse. You do focus on syllable count per line and rhyme periodically. So that's something. So that's not something that I do, but I write most often. I'm open verse. But I do a lot of internal rhyme, not inline rhyme necessarily, but I do look for those nuances that allow hopefully the musicality to stay with the poetry.
Sure.
But certainly, I always admire when I hear someone that can get into that whole iambic pentameter. It doesn't come natural for me, but it is something that I've been reading more and more about form poetry. So I haven't delved into those waters yet, but I'm becoming more, I guess, versed with how they are to be created. So thank you for sharing that first poem. And how about, okay, let's hear a second poem from Arissa Williams.
All right, I am going back to the old neighborhood when growing up in Deanwood, Washington, D.C. Looking for it. And I am the youngest of 14. My father married twice, 5 children by the first wife, and she died, married my mother, and then 9 of us. So when I talk about the 3 young ones, I'm talking about my 2 nephews that grew up in the house with us, and I have 2 brothers. Their nicknames, Jerome and Hoodie was his nickname, and we called Jerome Roney. So I grew up with playmates inside the house. I was the only girl, and I wasn't a tomboy. They allowed me to be a sissy. So we made games out of everything. It was a big old raggedy house on Sheriff Road, drafty and everything, but it was so much fun. Our kitchen was in the basement. My father called the house an apartment house, but it was really a rooming house because people had to share 1 bathroom. 3 floors, 1 bathroom on each floor.
Okay.
And there were a lot of people. But this is called the kitchen basement. On icy days, the 3 youngest children roller skate on the kitchen cement floor. From the steps across the basement to the bay window, they zoom up and down the uneven surface. After a spring pour down, if dead leaves and trash clog the drain outside, storm water floods the foundation. Part of the kitchen becomes a pond 6 inches deep. All of us wear galoshes. Mother mobilizes emergency measures. The older boys grab necessities from the storage room. They lay a bridge, 3 wide planks to the dinner table. For the kids, time to play Peter Pan. Peter and Wendy pretend to fly across the wooden walkway to Neverland, the kitchen table. Captain Hook tries to tag Peter and Wendy before they land safely on Magical Island. Meanwhile, the matriarch supervises the cleanup crew. Shovel flood water into buckets. Dump the heavy pails of water out the back door. Sweep the damp cement floor. Sprinkle Dutch cleanser all over to sanitize. But on frigid days, as mother bakes biscuits, the skating trio races back and forth on the sidewalk downstairs, a cozy kitchen roller rink.
Oh my goodness. Wow. Thank you. Thank you. What a history. What a experience.
I got tons of those.
Okay, well, just the legacy of such an extended family is just part of it that lends itself to that. But it's funny, I was remembering there was a time where I lived in a house with my parents that we had a kitchen in the basement, but none of the rest of the story was anywhere near like yours. I always thought it was so odd that we had the kitchen and the dining room, which were the only things in the basement aside from the storage. But it was a parish. So we my father was a preacher.
Oh.
So there was this huge dining hall that was our dining room. But I do know about kitchen with in the basement. So that's
Okay.
phenomenal experience, but yours definitely trumped mine. Well, thank you so much for that. With regard to when you think about your experiences, your poetic experiences, your journey as a poet, is there something that perhaps I did not include in your bio that you would like to share with our guests that stands out as a part of your just experience as a poet, something that you think is unique and that you would like to share?
I'd like to share information about Pen in Hand, my writing support group.
Okay.
This is my 7th year being a member, and you know, every 7 years, we're totally different.
Oh,
From
okay.
7, when you're 14, you're nothing like you were when you were 7, 21, 28, 35, and so on.
Okay.
So my 7th year with the group, beautiful group, diversity at its best, America at its best. The professional writers help those of us who are not professional. Gentle critiquing, very supportive. You can do it. One of our members, when I share a poem, the next month when we go back, she'll say, "Aressa, did you win?" "No, I didn't win this time." "Oh, you should have." And then, you know, with that kind of support, it encourages me.
Okay.
I love the group.
Okay, so there's a competitive component to your writing. You submit for competitions?
I do.
Okay, so that's something we hadn't talked about. So thank you for bringing that element in. I want to, before I forget, I want to make sure that I ask you to please include in the chat something about Pen in Hand, if that's something that's open to others that may have an interest, and if it's a closed group, indicate that, but I want you to mention Pen in Hand.
Okay.
And talk just briefly about the whole concept of poetry competition. This is by submission, I take it. Yeah, I don't want to feed it. You tell us about competitions.
Hiram LaRue, as you know, and Alice Plaster of Pen in Hand, they provide the group with numerous activities to write and possible submit your work and be published. I just do it for fun, and I just started winning last year. You know, you did too for Poetry Ex Hunger. Both of us were honorable mentions. Well, that was my first win. And also last year I won $10 for submitting a poem.
Okay.
And so I'm getting better, but it's with the group's help and support that I'm getting better.
Okay.
I'm an old lady, but I'm still learning.
But the day we stop learning, we're in trouble.
I know.
So don't even talk about, but, you know, no. We're absolutely, that's a lifelong learning is what I call the mantle upon which we live our lives. Because once we stop learning, that's the death knell. It is. So thank you for sharing. Please put your contact information in the chat.
Okay.
If there is a website or a Facebook page or just an email address where persons can reach out to you to be in touch and know about the various poetic groups that you're a part of, or any information that you would like to share. And I will say that Aressa is a member of the literary leaders of Prince George's County. She accepted my invitation, and I'm very honored. We want to have those persons who have extensive literary journey to share, but also that have just impressive accomplishment So thank you so much, Aressa. And we're going to come back to Aressa, as I mentioned for Imani. We're going to come back and hear at least one more poem and hear the backstory about that as well. So Aressa will be looking to find your contact information and whatever else you would like to share in the chat. So thank you so very much for your presentation at this time.
I see that Alice Plaster has given you the information in the chat room about Pen in Hand and when we meet and how to contact. So thanks, Alice. Okay, but I'll put my email address.
You're welcome.
And,
Yeah.
Email address and anything else that comes to mind that you think would help others who are seeking to grow in their poetic journey.
I certainly will.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Okay. Now, as I said earlier, we do have 3 poets, and we are up to our 3rd poet, Julie Winters, Julie A. Winters.
Really lemony.
And before I do introduce Julie, let me say as a reminder, for persons who are not speaking, please ensure that your mic is muted so that there is no disturbance and disruption that would prohibit others from hearing what is being said. We do want everyone to know that this program, this session from a poet's point of view is being recorded, and we are very happy to have everyone with us. Also, be sure to post in the chat any comments or questions that you would like directed to our guest poets. And it does appear that we will have some time for an open mic component to today's session. So if you are interested in having a poem, presenting a poem in the latter portion of today's program, keeping in mind that we will be doing one more round with each of today's guest poets, and then we will invite open mic participation as well. We do request that these not be, extended or huge, long poems. So, maybe a minute and a half to 2 minutes max for any poem that would be a part of the open mic. So simply put your name and then open mic beside your name if you would like to present during the open mic, and if we have an opportunity to include everyone whose name is posted. And that would, you can direct that to, just put it to everyone, that would be fine. Okay, now, third, and certainly not least, but I'm very happy to welcome Julie A. Winters to our today's session of From a Poet's Point of View. Julie Winters is a resident of Greenbelt, Maryland. She returned to her true love of poetry in her late 30s after a many-year hiatus. Now, she likes to mind the ordinary for her work, because what people have in common is the very ordinary, the experience of a moment. When she's not writing poetry, she edits science articles and contributes biographies and artist interviews for the website of an art gallery in Australia. Julie's work appeared in the latest edition of a Greenbelt poetry journal titled The Iguana Review. She is happiest sharing her work with people who have beverages in hand at poetry open mics, and before COVID, was a regular fixture at the poetry open mic at the New Deal Cafe in Greenbelt, Maryland. She is also on the selection committee for the Poetry Moment Box, a display mounted outside the entrance to the New Deal Cafe that features poems by local poets. Please join me in welcoming today Miss Julie Winters, our third guest poet for today's session. Julie, thank you so much for joining us, and welcome.
Thank you so much, Sister Joy.
I'm really humbled and honored to be in this company. My resume is a lot shorter than those of my companions here today. So thank you very much for giving me this opportunity to be part of this community. I really appreciate it.
Well, we're happy to have you.
Thank
I would like to hear, well, you decide, do you want to hear share the backstory first or the poem first?
I think that there's not a whole lot of backstory to this. I think it's really more that this poem represents a lot of the kinds of things that most of my poetry shows. A lot of my poetry deals with domestic life and issues of loss and transition and things like that. Kind of the common experiences that we all have as we move through this time. I've been a stay-at-home working freelancing parent for 20 years and a divorced parent for 10 of those years, and have been dealing with aging parents and raising a child. And so my poetry tends to center around those things. And this poem sort of captures a little bit of all of that. And I was not amused. I was gratified to hear that Imani is a student at Hampton University, because that takes me home. Because I grew up in Hampton, and this poem that I'm going to read is about the experience of driving from this area back to Hampton over my adult life, basically. This is called The Road Most Taken. I'm old school, so I'm dealing with paper. Here we go. Early spring sunshine lights a cloudless morning, washing the windshield pale yellow. But I could tell you what this southbound road looks like any time of day or season. 30 years and 3 stretches of interstate separate my old hometown from my new one. The distance expanding and contracting as I move farther north in increments, and then my father moved 10 miles north as well. His home now was never mine, but he is something of home to me, and there is distance with him too. The distance between a man with letters of commendation from commanders and a man who thinks for a moment that the mess hall is on the 2nd floor of his house. On a good day, this trip takes 3 hours, and it is always on the way down that the miles are paved with the memories of previous trips. And after work jaunted on a summer evening in my 20s, windows down, the sky a quiet blaze of orange and pink. A lonely drive through the dark after a 4 a.m. phone call, watching the sky slowly take color as I finished the last leg. The McDonald's at Massaponax, where I started getting chocolate shakes as my marriage soured, so now they taste like divorce. A dip in the surface of 295 around Richmond remained unfixed for years. If I took it fast enough, my stomach got left 200 yards behind. It's been smoothed out. Exits and on-ramps have been reshaped. Parts of the road named and renamed for fallen officers. Lanes and signs added as more and more cars take up a route I imagine I'll soon see less of. Somewhere along the way, the direction home has changed.
Okay, so you definitely share so much about yourself through that poem. And it also shares about the history of the community in which you grew up, and the communities in which you now reside even. So.
Yes, yeah, that was sort of the idea, is just trying to encompass all of that. I was an Army brat for the first several years of my life. And at the same time, I've been in this area for half of my life at least. And so the idea of what home is and who we are and how these things change has also taken up a lot of space in my poetry.
Okay. Well, when you think about poets
Mhm.
that have influenced you, have you embraced the writings of a particular poet? Have you studied a particular poet? The signature style, are they reflected in your writings? Tell us about what has brought you to where you are today as a poet.
I think that well, certainly I like poets like Mary Oliver, A friend of mine introduced me a few years ago to a poet named Ted Kuser, whose writing I just so admire because he sticks with really, really simple topics, and a lot of them are very resonant with me. They're very, domestic things at home, relationships, things like that. But his writing is just beautiful and so evocative. His images are just incredibly well chosen, and he makes it look all so deceptively simple. I really admire him.
Mark of a good writer.
Pardon?
Mark of a good writer.
Exactly. Yeah, you make it look easy, and writing about apples and just things that you wouldn't think would make really great poetry, but they do. And I would like to think that someday I could write like him. And I like the writing of Sharon Olds too. Just very, some of it is almost disturbing, but she draws you in anyway. And I don't think there's a lot of that so much in my work, but I'm just trying to basically keep things real and make the everyday relatable, but still interesting, I guess. It's a good way of looking at it.
Okay. And when you think about, I haven't asked this previously, but where you would like to go with your poetry, where would you like your poetry to take you?
I think always poetry is about communicating, and I really just want for people to feel something when they hear my work. If it resonates with them, it isn't so much for me about will my craft grow so much as will people want to hear my work? Will there be something in it that grabs them, that captures a feeling that they have that maybe they couldn't put into words? And so they are gratified by hearing something I write that makes them say, yes, this is what I would say if I thought, if I thought to put my words to paper. That's kind of what I would like.
Okay. And when you think about when you revise, edit, tighten up your poetry, what do you find yourself most looking to do? Are you looking to employ certain techniques? Are you looking to eliminate articles? Are you looking to for better word choice? Do you pull out a thesaurus? Do you not do that? What does that look like for you?
Sure. Who doesn't like a good thesaurus? I think mostly I'm trying to remove clutter from my lines, and probably can guess from how I'm talking that I tend to be a little verbose. So I try and whittle things down so that there isn't so much kind of garbage that could clutter up and ruin an image, basically. I'm really going for efficiency, and certainly sometimes it takes a couple of revisions to get there and tighten things up.
Yeah, well, we all want to acknowledge that revisions are just a sign that you're getting there.
There you go.
If you look at a poem and you really cannot find one place to tighten it up, to edit it, to make it better, then I would say put it away for a few days.
You're probably deluding yourself. Yeah.
Most of us are not that great,
No.
As far as, we want to feel that our poems are absolutely wonderful. And I see one of the poets that's on this call today, she imparted to me a line that I've embraced and tried to hold on to more than I probably am. But she talked about killing the darlings. And yes, Billy O'Cara, I'm speaking about you. You taught me that, to be able to tighten up your poetry by looking at the lines to see what can go without losing the message. So I thank Billy O'Cara for that lesson. And it is one that I have passed on in many a poetry workshop. Killing the darlings is the hardest thing to do. But if in fact it results in the poem being tighter and more, better understood, then that's what we want to do. So again, well, thank you for sharing that. Do you have a second poem that you'd like to share?
Sure, I do. It's one, I don't normally write things from the headlines, but there was a school shooting that I guess it grabbed my attention, and I actually can't tell you where that shooting was. I wrote this a few years ago, and I guess that's a sign of the times in which we live, that I can't say which
That's
specific
terrible. That's
thing it
terrible.
was, you know?
Yeah.
And I was I was proud to have this poem featured on Henry Crawford's website. And he has a guest poetry thing that he does online, and he featured this poem there a couple of years ago. And I'm going to share that one. It's called Middle School Gunman. Maybe by now, the brains of the headline writers are locked. 94 incidents or 23 shootings per day, or one shooting every 8 school days this year. However it is counted, a kid with a gun at school is news that doesn't seem like news, even though you wouldn't think in a small town like here it could happen. And you understand the terror of the parents of all the students, can feel their righteous relief now that it is over, the gunman having killed himself after exchanging fire with police. And doesn't that sound grown up and calculated? You can picture him taking a shot and slipping behind a wall, see the quick, shallow breaths as he rests from his exertions, hiding from the bullets that must be raining down on him, until he realizes there is no getting out of this. Maybe he never intended to. Maybe it was all leading up to this moment of decision where he takes himself out. And the article doesn't mention his parents, whose son may have been cold and hard by age 13, or innocent a year ago, or simply lost or desperate. We are unlikely to ever hear from them. And when you can forget that there are parents, you can forget that a 14-year-old boy became a man in the space of a headline.
Oh, nice.
Wow. Yes.
Yeah. And I guess that at that time, I was moved by his age, and as a parent of a young son, just thinking of his parents, because you don't hear about those parents of these people who are doing these things that we all know are terrible.
Yeah.
And their parents, you know,
Yes.
and a very troubled person. And, you know.
Okay. Well, thank you for that. Thank you for that. Those are poems that speak to the times in which we are living. And unfortunately, that could be quite an expanded period of time. It seems that this is not a phenomenon that's going away.
Right.
As we hear, even recently, I think last night, or was it Friday night? Yeah, last night in DC, 6-year-old girl, lost her life. These are issues that our society has not been able to successfully move beyond. And thank you for capturing that moment and sharing that story through your poem today.
Thank you.
We want to, let's see, we're going to go back around to our first guest poet that was presenting before some of you arrived. And as we shared, each of our 3 guest poets today will excuse me, share at least one more poem before we return to consider if time permits us to do an open mic. And we do want to make sure that everybody is now muted if they are not speaking, so that we are not having to speak over sounds that are distracting from the poetry. So, Imani, welcome back. Welcome back. Our college student who is a Prince George's County Youth Poetry Ambassador, and she will carry that moniker for life, because once you are an ambassador for that Prince George's County Youth Poet Laureate program, you are an ambassador for life. And the only thing that would cause her to not carry that moniker is if she were to become a Youth Poet Laureate. So that I don't know if that is mutually exclusive, or if then you carry both titles. I haven't talked to Patrick, but we're just very thrilled to have you with us, and I'm sure that your college schedule is keeping you very busy, and so we truly appreciate you taking time to be with us today to share your journey through the poetry that you share, but also sharing some of the experience, some of your sojourn, as it were. As a matter of fact, before you share this last poem, is there something that you would like to share that is a part of your literary journey that you feel is significant, that might shed insight as to what it's like to live the life of a poet, or something that might encourage someone, or even give someone a heads up warning? This something like, this poetry thing does not have a bottom to the well. You can keep going and going and going, and there's always more. Please, Imani, whatever you care to share before your poem and then your poem.
Yeah.
You want to take, huh? Okay. You want me to?
In my poetry journey, like I said earlier, I started when I was 12. And I remember Miss Aressa said that she started in 3rd grade. So I would say to anyone who is trying to pick up the pen and trying to start writing, there's no better time than now. Like, this is your time. This is your time to start expressing yourself. Sometimes poetry isn't always about other people. Sometimes we write poetry for selfish reasons, and for our own healing. And sometimes the things that you don't share with other people, like your prayers and things like that, you can put that into your poetry. So I would say there's no age to poetry. There's no socioeconomic status for poetry. There's no limit to poetry. You can do whatever you want. You can write about whatever you want. And it's an open art form, like you don't have to have a degree in poetry to write poetry. You don't have to be like the best poet ever to write poetry. Like,
Absolutely.
it's about self-expression and stuff like that. So that's my words of encouragement for
welcoming
everyone.
all comers, welcoming all to the fold. Thank you for that. Yes.
Yeah.
Okay. Well, Imani, your final presentation at this time. We're all ears.
Oh, okay. So like I was saying, I'll give like a small backstory to it. Like I was saying, like just a few seconds ago, like sometimes we write poetry for very selfish reasons. And for me, poetry and my relationship with God are very close together. Sometimes they're intertwined. So that's kind of what this poem is about. It's my relationship with God and how poetry is in my life. Sometimes my prayers are also my poetry. So that's what I'm going to read about. So it's called An Ode to Poetry. Thinking about you, a daily activity that consumes me. Your imperfections being my most perfect moments. I never thought I would be capable of loving something again. But your existence is a commitment to proving me wrong. Whenever I am in your presence, a wildfire rises up in my belly, bringing light and warmth to my heart, my head, and my hands. And it's crazy. I mean, love be crazy anyway. And you are worth every drop of the sanity I have left. If I had 9 lives and died again and again, my life's mission would be to find you. You are the constant calm to this less than perfect storm I call myself, so unfinished like a basement in a new house you don't want anyone to see. And you help me to see that imperfect is still beautiful. When I talk to you, I am reminded that God still loves me. Even in all of my mess, I can always come to you when I feel that I have fallen. So forgiving. Even when I abandon you for a while, I always know that you are right there waiting for me. Thank you.
Oh, beautiful. Absolutely beautiful. Thank you so much, Imani. What a perfect closeout. What a perfect closeout. Thank you very much. And again, for those that missed Imani's presentations earlier, Her contact information is in the chat. Keep in mind that she is a college student, so her time might not be as free as some others, but we want to please express our appreciation to her for joining us today, despite the commitments that I think you're just in your second year, right?
Yes.
Yeah, so
I'll be a sophomore in the fall. So
right. So we know that she's got a ways to go, but we want to be able to stay in touch if that's an option. So Imani, thank you so very much, and all the best, continued success, continue blazing those trails as you have been. And again, congrats on that most recent what is it, young emerging artist from the Pierians. I was very happy for you to hear that you were a recipient for this year's award. Okay.
thank you.
You're very welcome. And Aressa Williams, you have one more poem for us? You're muted. That's okay. And okay.
Okay. I think I better rhyme.
Oh.
This time.
Okay.
This is called And Another Thing. How we make decisions count. Daydream success to jumpstart. Picture the greatest good for all. Trust the power team, mind and heart. In times of trouble and concern, open a possibility vault. Armed with grace, common sense, hope, imagine the best end result. Live grand memories to recall, victories won and battles fought. Keep a fun time file updated to retrieve in a moment's thought. Our choices define who we are. And remember another thing, take time to attend to yourself. Dance, laugh deeply, walk, take a nap, sing. That's it.
Okay. Oh, thank you, Aressa. Again, self-care. I love it. Thank you so much.
When you get my age, you'll be doing that. You'll be thinking about it more.
I'm thinking about it these days. What are you talking about? We can't wait till we get to the swan song years to say that now I'm going to start thinking about taking care of myself.
Yes.
Yes, absolutely. And then I offered that to even Imani, that self-care is so very important. This is a part of our journey, and if we want our journey to be one of quality, and not just counting years, then we have to pay attention to those things that enrich our lives and our life experiences, as well as that enrich the life experience of others. So thank you so much, Aressa Williams. Thank you for joining us. And Julie Winters is our final featured poet before we switch over to our open mic. And actually, before we switch to the open mic, I think I'll share a poem or two as well. And then that'll be the onset to the open mic. But Julie Winters, welcome back. And feel free to say a word or two before your poem if you like, or you can just go into the poem, however.
Great, thank you. Well, this is going to be a lot lighter than the last thing I read.
Okay.
This is about, I mentioned earlier that I got divorced many years ago, and I decided I needed a new bed after that happened. And this is about purchasing a new bed. It's called This Bed. The queen has been deposed, and now in her place, a full counterpart. Small enough for just me and large enough to be hopeful. Singularly mine. More mine, in fact, than this newly bought house. For others have roamed these rooms before me, but this bed has never seen sunlit stretches of afternoon reading, a baby napping in a fortress of pillows, sex that is or isn't love, depending, the slow slide to separateness, silence and indecision, an anxious child, sweat, urine, emptiness. This bed knows only joyful invitation, the pricked ear of motherhood, the peace of one. the future spread out as blank and wide as the duvet.
I love it. I almost want you to send me a copy of that.
Can do.
Oh, there are many of us who made that decision. Just so, yes, wonderful, wonderful, wonderful.
Thank you.
Okay, and those are very personal poems that clearly resonate with a particular audience. So, we may write something that's very personal, but then we find a whole new audience that has an appreciation because of life's journey.
Because it's life. Yeah.
More of us are so much more alike than different. And that's the reality of it. Thank you so much for sharing that, Julie. Okay. And again, I hope your contact information and website or whatever you care to share is in the chat. And for all of our featured poets today, please make sure that you are checking out those words of encouragement and appreciation that are posted in the chat. Now, as many of you are aware, because the news is making it known, the numbers are rising with regard to COVID-19. It was expected that following the 4th of July, when people were most likely to venture out in larger numbers, that we would see a surge. So I decided that today I'm going to pull up one of my early COVID-19 poems and share as a reminder for some. And some of us have never departed from the safety guidelines and measures that are required for us to stay safe. And this is simply titled, What Time It Is, COVID-19. These times seem unreal, yet this is what time it is. No time for hand wringing. It's hand washing that saves lives. And cleanliness is next to godliness in the face of this coronavirus 19. We're used to having what we want, going where we want, with whomever we want, doing what we want, just because. Now, everything's on pause. While we wait, we wash our hands. Exposure, infection, fatalities continue to soar. Increased local, national, and global. COVID-19 cases confirmed around the world as CDC, WHO, and NIH search for vaccines. We check their daily websites. Tune into CNN and MSNBC for continuous coronavirus coverage.
Well,
searching for updates, see what they say, no longer laughing at those who pray with hushed but not silenced voices. We wash our hands. The search is on for test kits, masks, hand sanitizer. We pray that we, our families, hospitals, and caregivers stay coronavirus free. Our language has changed. Social distancing, personal protective equipment, self-quarantine, shelter in place. We struggle to maintain 6-foot separation in public. We homeschool our youth, attend virtual church services, and like Pilate, we wash our hands. Amid isolation, depression, fear, and other health-based realities of this pandemic, the economic fallout grows daily as we await trillion-dollar rescue plans. We are ever reminded that, like the handshakes of yesterday, coronavirus seals the deal if we don't do our part. So we wash our hands, stand at least 6 feet apart, wear masks, gloves, spray everything to sanitize, but mostly we stay home to stay alive. We pray for and mourn loved ones that pass. Recall shared memories that turned out to be our last. Attend virtual funerals, numb, half in disbelief, unable to grasp, contain, or fully express our grief. We do all this and pray more than ever before because this is what time it is.
Oh, that's excellent.
Yes.
Oh, God.
Some of us have ventured away from that posture of safety. Some of us have not. With the surge happening, we're at least reflecting on it. So I hope everyone on this call has been vaccinated, and I encourage you to consider it and do it if you have not yet done so. It is not my place to tell anybody how to live their life. I just want you to live. God bless you all. Now, there is one other poem that I will share, and this is much on a lighter note, a more peaceful note, and it's actually titled Serenity. Serenity. Sometimes we need to slip away from causes and battles, the toil, stress, and strife of everyday life. Take some time to take in the view of a distant mountaintop that fades into a skyline of azure blue. Let yourself get lost in reverie as you watch a trickle of water gently wash across moss-covered stones, cascade down a mountainside, build into a stream, and splash into the sea below. Maybe you're not able to get away, but you can still sip raspberry tea as you sit under a beach umbrella planted in your own backyard, listening to birds at sunrise or crickets under starlight. Learn to release your stress back into the atmosphere. Let the ions that load you down drown in the river of time while you playfully splash waves and frolic in the tropic breeze of your mind. Then become still. Center your soul. Open your mind's eye to see and receive the beauty and awesome power of the universe. Allow ancestral spirits to guide you from this plane of the physical to the metaphysical, to the Creator's pure light of understanding, peace, and love. Bask in the light as it soaks into your soul. Receive joy from the knowledge of your divine and perfect purpose, which becomes clearer each time you seek the light. Your purpose becomes clearer, bringing you nearer to true vision, opening doors, clearing pathways, empowering you to overcome past temptations, teaching you to dwell on a higher plane, gain knowledge of the divine creative source, receive knowledge of the power of humility, beginning with the ability to say thank you to the Creator for the privilege of life, not just with words or thoughts, but through living a life that honors and protects all life that touches yours, creating a divine new spirit in the universe, a divine spirit of beauty and power, seeking, receiving, sending the pure peace and love of self and the universe. Then gradually, as you return, remember the beauty of true tranquility. Use it whenever you desire to soothe your soul or empower yourself to claim your very own special place, that place of peace called serenity.
Nice.
I hope that gave everyone a moment to simply be still and connect with a power greater than yours and understand that we all have that within us whenever we choose, despite everything that life sends our way. Thank you so much.
That's beautiful. I said, so relaxing and needed messaging. Thank you, Mr. Joy.
Thank you very much. Thank you. Well, we have some names in the chat of poets that have expressed an interest to participate in the open mic. And the first poet that I saw was Dorothy Rice. Dorothy, thank you so much for being with us. And as Dorothy comes to share her one poem, I'm going to ask if Lisa White Hudgens will be on deck to share second. So Dorothy, what do you have for us today?
Well, good afternoon. I'm so glad I'm with you all today. There is a work of art behind me.
And work of art behind us.
And I said, well, why not read the poem that inspired that work of art? The title is Baptist at a Quaker Meeting. Silence greets me at the door. Wooden benches, wooden floor. Windows arch like dragonfly wings. A corner piano, but no one sings. No man-made images hang or stain. Feet and hands silent, no tambourine. Branches quiver on a breeze, the only music as I breathe. The spirit moves, all else is still. So I sketched a jar of daisies adorning the windowsill.
Oh, how beautiful.
Wow.
Thank you so much. And so in addition to being a wonderful poet, Dorothy Rice is also a wonderful visual artist. Thank you, Dorothy, for sharing both of your art forms today.
Thank you. And I've enjoyed everyone. I've been inspired.
Wonderful, wonderful. Okay, let's see. Lisa, do you have a piece for us? And before Lisa begins, Ty Gray L is on deck. So Lisa, do you have something you'd care to share?
Yes, good afternoon. Can you hear me?
Yes, we can. Thank you.
Oh, wonderful. I would just like to say that good afternoon again, and I'm thankful to the ancestors and the descendants of the spoken word, etc. I also would like to say that I plan to stay under the 2 minutes. Today, I am relearning so much about poetry. I'm just really enjoying this event. I'm learning that, relearning that poetry is not just about rhymes, which is what I always try to do, but I relearned about the metaphors that I believe was mentioned by Miss West. And also I relearned about the syllable count in poetry that I believe was mentioned by Sister Joy. I would like to congratulate all the speakers today, the great poets. I was so inspired. I was inspired by their words. I was also inspired by their journey. The poet, Miss Williams, believe she mentioned that she lived in Dean Ward, Washington, D.C. I live next to Dean Wood right now. That's an inspiration to me. I just really enjoyed your poetry. I was also inspired by Hampton, Virginia, which was mentioned by the poet Winters, and the second year student with just incredible achievements. Congratulations to you, of Hampton University. I spent many summers as a child in Williamsburg, Virginia, which is very near that particular area, but I've never been to Hampton, Virginia, and I would like to visit. I've also, Miss Imani spoke about the intertwinedness, I believe, of God and poetry. And I feel that as well. I also inspired by Reverend Craig. And also the whatever you had. Also the poet Miss Winters talked about I believe being an Army brat, and I was also inspired by that, as my father was a Marine, and I'm just so thankful to my father was a Marine who served in World War II, and I'm just so thankful to their service. And without further ado, I just would like to, if I have time, mention this poem that I wrote on July 5th. It's called Today. Today is a beautiful day. God will make a way. Today is a beautiful day. What do I say? To God be the glory. This is my story. Today is a beautiful day. Thank you so much. Sorry if I went over 2 minutes.
Thank you, Lisa White Hudgens. Thank you so much for being with us, and thank you for sharing. We appreciate it. Not to worry. Okay. And now we have Ty Gray L, a good friend of mine. So happy he's with us today. And just so that the next poet knows that she's on deck, Billy O'Cara is our last poet that I believe has signed up. So please do share Brother Ty Gray L, and Billy O'Cara will be our next poet. We have a little bit of time left. If there's somebody else who would like to sign up in the chat, please, now is your time to do so. And of course, we can go back, and I always have poetry I can share, as I'm sure our guest poets have poetry that they can share as well. But Ty Gray L, what do you have for us today?
Well, first, let me thank you. Thank you for this platform. It's wonderful. I mean, this is my second time attending, and it really is uplifting and inspirational. So thank you for having the idea to do it. And thank you for all the other people who have come on to share. I mean, Imani inspired me. Aressa, I believe I've met her before in the DC Area Writers Project. I was a member of that for a couple of years. And Julie, you might not know this, but I actually had a poem that was outside of the New Deal Cafe for 2 years in a row. And that's the poem I want to share. And it's simile and it's metaphor, and I'll just be brief and share it. It's called Blown Away. Fallen leaves lay around the base of the tree, withdrawing, sap junkies all, not understanding why the sap stopped running, shriveling, shrinking from short sap supply. And the colors are simply symptoms, emaciated, malnourished, thin things, lying around in the gutter, craving a shot of sap, trembling in the wind, terrorized by the leaf police as they make their street sweeping arrest, blown away. And I like to say that I wrote that when I was in the throes of heroin addiction, and I felt just like one of those leaves blown away. Thanks for letting me share.
Thank you so much, Ty. Thank you for that. Wonderful. And you said that was on display at the the New Deal Cafe?
Yeah, I was invited to share there at the New Deal a couple of years. Well, I think it was in 17 and 18, it was on display. But with respect to the New Deal, I was invited there because I was born and raised in Langston Terrace, which was a part of the New Deal along with Greenbelt. And so we did a historical thing. And I think that was the first year that they actually put the poems outside. Julie would probably have a little bit more information on that than I, but I do know that I was outside for 2 years running.
Okay. Well, congratulations on that. And how very perfect to bring it full circle to have one of our featured poets be connected with the New Deal Cafe, and to have one of our guests who is attending today to have the origin, to be a part of that very beginning. That's perfect. Full circle, full circle. That makes me feel like we're on point here. We are where we're supposed to be. Thank you so much, Brother Ty Gray L. And Brother Ty and I have known each other for many years, and I'm very happy and honored that he would stop in and be a part of today's event. Thank you, Brother Ty. Okay, and we now, as I said earlier, we have Billy O'Cara, another longtime friend and sister poet friend of mine. Billy O'Cara, welcome to From a Poet's Point of View. What poetry would you care to share with us today?
Yeah, I am. I just want to thank you for just being so innovative in the poetry community and just starting so many people on their journey with poetry. I know it was your idea to form collective voices X number of decades ago. I won't even mention them. And so I really got my start in the performance part back then. My poem is called Inkling, and like Imani and some others, so much of my poetry is intertwined with my relationship with God, but it hasn't been like a straight line relationship. It's been this jagged. So even the new book I'm working on is called Stumbling Toward Calvary, and that's because the journey has been falling and getting up. So this poem is called Inkling.
Billy, before you go further, can you speak up just a little bit?
Okay, yeah. Can you hear me now?
Yes, that's better.
Okay, this poem is called Inkling. So you get the inkling that you know about who God is and who God ain't. You try to put it in plain folk language, like he being the beginning and the ending and the first and the last, and them who cast their lot with him will be saved. But you ask, saved? Saved? You just wants to know, is that from what or for what or to who, seeing as by the time you think you got the answer, 70 bout run its course, and of course you have done your dirt, thinking of the folk you hurt, averting your eyes in surprise when like a pouncing tiger they rise and strike a death blow. You know about death and the stare in the eyes of those standing at the door waiting for Lazarus to rise, and anxious cries when nobody come forth, no grave clothes drop away, and don't nobody speak a word, don't nobody say, loose that man and let him go. So you know that 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 you don't know, but you do love, because love hopes all things, even though sometimes you don't feel no love for nothing. But the word on the street say praise, and the word down from Sinai says worship in the spirit and in the truth. And you know your spirit is more than Hezekiah Walker walking you and Kurt Franklin talking you. So you test the spirit to see if it's real, and you know that you had it shine on you, break you into 1,000 tears, then calm your fears, speaking peace into your windstorm, making you face forward, then go forward, because tomorrow be destiny, and the past is gone as the last lover you played. So you have stayed down in the sister circle, dancing down the demon, screaming for just joy to play upon your heartstrings, just faith to magnify your spirit, and just peace to feel the tentacled places of consciousness, and just Jesus to feel the doubting places of your soul.
Thank you so much, Billy O'Cara. Vintage signature Billy. I love it. I love it. Her messages are so powerful. And for those, I'm going to ask for anybody that's on this call, if you are interested in being in touch with others who are on the call, simply put your contact information in the chat. And for those that don't know, you may save the chat and obtain, well, by clicking on the three dots in the lower right-hand corner, they're called ellipses. By clicking on those ellipses, you can save it. Just remember, pay attention to where you save it to. I like to save mine to a particular file so I'll know my chat, or all of my chats are in the same place. But you can just click that and it'll just say, when you click it, it says save chat. And then you click it the second time and then that will be saved. And you can go back and access all of the contact information, any websites that are posted, information about the poets, and be able to be in touch. This is what we're trying to do through the Office of the Poet Laureate, is to create a more connected and a more established poetry community, certainly primarily based in Prince George's County. But of course, the reality is, with the advent of the virtual experience, our connections are global. So we have poets oftentimes from not just other parts of the country, but other parts of the world. And I think that's a very good thing. I'm always interested in connecting with poets who have different experiences based on their proximity. So I thank you, Billy, for that. Absolutely. And I see that I did overlook one person who has said that she wanted to share, and that is Joan Hayes. Indicates that she has a short poem, The Hourglass, a Measurement of Life. So Joan Hayes, would you care to share at this time?
Yes, this is a poem about life in general, that God always has the beginning and the end. It's called The Hourglass, Measurement of Life. From the moment of conception and the onset of our birth, the grains of sand drift to life's hourglass as we pass our time here on earth. Some grains slip slowly, some go too fast. Each day brings some kind of emotion as we sort each petal, hoping our time will last. But alas, prior to a higher power, your hourglass has already been defined, your beginning and ending already prearranged. And in crystal certainty, the only thing that can be changed is a strong belief in your enormous and supreme power that was already predetermined prior to the beginning of your shining hour.
Thank you so much. These are poets that I hope everyone will post their contact information in the chat so that we can stay in touch with you. I'm often looking to reach out and connect with poets to let you know about other activities that I'm either hosting or spreading the word about. Let's see, is your hand raised to indicate that you would like to share, Paul Digby? Okay. Well, I was hope, let's see, I see a good friend and sister member of my church, Sister White. Sister White, would you care to speak to our guest today? Whether it be sharing a poem or simply greeting our guest. Sister White heads she's significant with the education ministry of Ebenezer AME Church. Sister White? Okay, well, I didn't ask in advance, so I understand if she's hesitant to come on. But we just wanted to offer the opportunity for everyone on the call to understand that you are very much a part of this experience today. And our guest poets, I'm going to ask if we can get one more relatively short poem before we close out, but one more poem from each of our guest poets. And I'm going to ask, is Imani still with us? I know, yeah. And there she is, Imani, and then we'll go to Julie. I'm sorry, then we'll go to Aressa, and then we'll go to Julie.
Okay, so this poem is called Lessons in Loving Myself. As a young person, Society is pulling you in all different directions, and learning to love yourself becomes difficult. So I will just go with that and start reading. Okay. In a society whose mission is to make me feel that I'm not good enough, it is easy to fall prey to its false narrative. Subsequently, it's taken 18 years to feel okay about the person that I am on a good day. I'm still learning how to love all 67 inches of me, and I have a long way to go, but I have learned a few key things along the way. Number 1, always strive for better, but not perfection. Nobody's perfect, and if everyone was, this world would be a very boring place. If you have to realize that your unique qualities are what make you identifiable and different. Number 2, be your own best friend and biggest cheerleader. Life is hard enough as it is, and the world is full of haters, so don't add yourself to that list because that is self-sabotage. Don't sell yourself short or dim your light. The world is already trying to do that. There is nothing worse than holding something so powerful inside of you. Number 3, give yourself room to make mistakes. You are human and mistakes are inevitable. Give yourself space to fail and grow from it. Life is not about your failures. It's about what you do after. Love yourself unconditionally because you deserve it. Thank you.
All right. Such wisdom from such a young soul. Thank you. Thank you, Imani. And thank you for being a part of today's session.
Thank you for having me.
Yes, from a poet's point of view. Absolutely. Okay. And now Aressa.
Okay, going back down memory lane, Sheriff Road, Deanwood. This is called Grape Kool-Aid. 2 packs of grape Kool-Aid, 5 coffee cups of Domino sugar, a gallon of tap water, stir vigorously in a stock pot. Lemon slices float on top. For the 5 children, the refreshing beverage covers ice cubes in jelly jars. Excited for the magic to come, they gobble beans and hot dogs. First, the youngsters gulp the grape potion. Its power enchants them. They shout, 1, 2, 3, then stick out dazzling purple tongues.
All right, all right. Love it, love it, love it.
Summertime fun.
We were right there with you. I love it. Thank you so much. Okay.
Thank you.
And again, Aressa, thank you for being a part of today's session of From a Poet's Point of View. We appreciate all your contributions. Thank you. Okay. Julie, what do you have for us?
I have another light poem in spite of its title. Okay. It's called Emergency.
Okay.
It's 8:56 p.m., so there's no time for words. I scan for color, moving past pale pinks studded with strawberries, rocky roads with marshmallow stones. It's been a while, so I think I'm looking for green, but every green I see cannot be from nature and purports to be mint. Finally, I find what I want. A mellow cream delicately chipped with the tiniest fragments of nut in a quantity not unthinkably gluttonous if consumed in one sitting. Too expensive. It's a brand named in sitcoms and rom-coms, but it's the only one of its kind. The express line is 3 people deep. The normally talkative cashier moving products over the belt swiftly without a word. I can take you over here, ma'am. In addition, a different cashier quickly taps into the next register over, not making eye contact, not moving the sorry lane closed sign. No, I don't need a bag for my purchase. And it's hard to not add an apology to my thanks, but I'm pretty sure she doesn't want to hear it anyway. It's now 8:59 in a store that closes at 9, but this was an emergency. I really needed this pistachio ice cream.
All right. Okay. Who doesn't need pistachio ice cream? Absolutely. Thank you. Julie Winters, thank you so much for being a part of today's episode of From Poet's Point of View. Each of you has contributed beautifully. Absolutely. I hope all of our guests have enjoyed their experience. I would like to close out, and unless somebody else has something, I'm looking in the chat. I don't see, let's see, I don't see another name. I'm looking, scrolling down. And pistachio ice cream. Okay, so that was, yeah, that was our last poet, our last guest poet. And I will share a poem that speaks to the issue of why some of us do this thing called poetry. And it's titled, Rock This. It might seem like we're trying to rock the mic. The real deal is we're trying to fight the good fight. Lifting verse opens minds, sometimes opens doors, brings news, heartfelt views from our world to yours. We don't simply speak for ourselves when we write, but for weary warriors who fought day and night. We speak for the silent, the misunderstood too. We speak to inform those who don't have a clue. We speak for battered lives and tossed aside seniors. We speak with teens on self-esteem in crucial in-between years. We speak for honored champions who toiled and paid their dues, for those depressed and still in pain, for those fighting the blues. We also speak to lift up praise and to celebrate, and yes, to share the good news because his love is great. So when we put our pen to page, like blood, our feelings flow. And when we walk out on a stage, we speak of what we know. You see, life is our practice. Every day we rehearse. This craft is our sacred gift, built strong verse by verse by verse. Each time we pick up the mic, we defeat adversity. Each time we pick up the mic, we claim a victory. Each time we pick up the mic, a soul could be set free. Each time we pick up the mic, we fulfill our destiny. Some may call it rock the mic. We call it poetry. Thank you so much, everybody, for joining us. I hope you have enjoyed it. I always love to dance with words. Pick up a pen and see what happens when you do the same. It'll surprise you if you let it. Thank you so much. We'll see you next month. And for those that are not aware, let's see. Next month, our third Saturday will be, and I have this right here, our third Saturday will be August the 19th, when our featured poets will be Sylvia Diane Beverly, who is known to many as Lady Di. Also, C. Christopher Thomas, and let's see, the Youth Poet Laureate of Prince George's County, Saini Cisse. So save the date right now on your calendars, on your phones, or other electronic devices. You do not want to miss this incredible lineup of poets. And of course, we want you to be a part of that conversation as well. So until then, pick up a pen, keep writing. Thank you so much.
Thank you. See ya.
Okay, I'm going to save my chat right now.
How do you save the chat?
Click on those three buttons in the lower right-hand corner where it,
Okay.
like if you were about to post a comment in the chat, but just clicking on that
Well,
chat.
I don't know how to post, but I see the three dots.
Yeah, so just
to the
click
right.
on that, and then if you click on it, you'll see the words come up that says save chat, and then you click on that where it's save chat, and then your chat.
It doesn't say save chat, it just says chat.
Okay, well, let's see.
Let's see, raise hand, hide my video.
No. You're looking in the wrong place. Look farthest to the far right of your entire screen for the Zoom. And
On the bottom.
Yes.
Okay, that's what I pressed on, and it says more.
No, that's not. You go all the way, follow all you see where it says leave?
Yes.
Go past that and all the way Well, first of all, did you open the chat? Maybe that's what you didn't. You never did. Maybe
Oh, let me open the chat. Okay.
so click
Let me
on the
go
word
back
chat.
into the,
Click on the word
okay.
chat. And then, so your chat should now be all the way to the far right. And see where it says, do you see those
I
three dots?
don't have, there are no dots now. The dots were in the previous screen, which wasn't the chat, I don't think. I think that was the overall screen.
I can send you my saved chat. It's the same for everybody.
Oh, okay. Thank you.
I'll send you mine. This is Lisa, right? Am I speaking to Lisa?
Yes, and I have to
Okay.
work on this because when I go in the chat, the only thing I have at the top is close and chat, and at the bottom is where I can send a chat. There are no dots, but the dots were in the previous screen that had participants, mute your video and all that. But when I pressed on that, nothing came up as to what you were saying should have come up.
I'll send it to you, not a problem.
Okay, thank
All
you.
right.
All right,
Bye,
have a good day.
everybody. Thank you. Taylor,
Okay.
are you still there?
Bye. Let's see.
Yes, I'm still here.
Okay, so I think that we can close out at this point. Thank you so very much. Everything went beautifully.
You're welcome.
All right, I'm gonna go. Bye-bye.
Okay. Bye.